Recently, the upcoming data center project has sparked conversation, and in some cases, concerns. Today, we want to take the time to talk openly about what the data center really means for our county. We'll hear directly from Mark McDougal, who is directly involved with the data center coming to McCornick. As the Chief Information Officer, McDougal has all the information that we all need to know. We'll discuss facts and clear up common misconceptions. Our goal is to answer questions honestly, highlight the benefits this project brings, and show how it fits into Millard County.
All right. I was doing some research on your company about Joule Capital Partners. Want to tell me about that?
No, Joule Capital Partners is an energy and data center company. We build data centers that have their own energy, so we don't necessarily look for energy off the grid.
Okay. Now everybody's been talking about data centers. Give me a basic rundown of the project on how you came to find McCornick to be a good spot for that data center.
Sure. Well, as you may or may not know, data centers are just an area for pretty intense compute. There's a lot of computers. The big issues with compute these days is that it takes a lot of energy, and they also produce a lot of heat, so it takes a lot of cooling. There are three basic things that you probably need to have a modern data center, and that is you need to have an area that's zoned appropriately. You need to have an area that has the appropriate resource to either tap into energy or to generate your own energy. And then you need to have the ability to transmit the data that you compute to and from, so that's like fiber.
Yeah.
The McCornick site has those three things just perfectly. We think it's just an exquisite site because we have terrific fiber, we have great natural resources where we can generate our power, and of course we have the space necessary to build without really running against any neighbors.
Tell me about your role in the project, how you fit in.
So I'm one of the founding members. The property where the site is located is the farm that I've farmed for the last 20 years. And so I'm pretty familiar with it. My family has been there on that site for over a half a century. So we're pretty familiar with that site. I'm actually the Chief Information Officer, but I am one of the founding partners, and basically what I do is just get things done.
Okay. Something that everyone's going to be wondering, do you guys have any clients yet set for your data center?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's the question that everyone asks. We are in negotiations with tenants right now that are pretty high-profile tenants. Because of their high-profile nature, we're under non-disclosure agreements with them. But I'm allowed to tell you certain things. They are hyperscale or large-scale compute companies, and sometimes I point people to the type of companies that are our companies. And if you were to look to the group that we sometimes call the Magnificent Seven, you would see our clients.
Okay. So how many clients do you have?
So basically, the way that our campus is set up is that we have phases. So we'll begin with our initial building, probably right after the first of the year. And that building can house multiple tenants in independent space, though, which is really nice. They're called halls, data halls. So the first building is designed to handle, 1 to 3 clients. And it really just depends on how much compute each of those clients use.
Okay. So here's a question that's been going after the fiber network 3 Delta data center is like cooling method, how much water getting used? And
Certainly a question that should be asked. So we're using a process called CCHP. It means combined cooling, heat, and power. Why that is so important is because it uses very little water. In the process of compute or generating compute, these computers put off a lot of heat. Traditionally, there's two ways that heat has been handled. The first way is evaporative coolers. And if you're in an area that has a lot of water, not here, but an area that has a lot of water, evaporative coolers really make sense because it's cheap and you're just using your resources there. Here, that doesn't work well. So in general, they've then gone to a refrigerative type cooling, just like in your home. That's really expensive. You can almost think of it as $1 for compute and $1 for cooling. It's that expensive. But in our process, which is really next generation technology, we capture the heat off of our generators. We run it through a process that turns that heat into cooling. We use that cooling in our liquid cooling for our computer. So thus the combined cooling and heat power.
Okay. Yeah, I hope everybody listens to that and takes that to heart, because I was trying to make that point very clear with about FiberNet Mercury Delta. They're using a refrigerant technology instead of water.
Yep.
And people still aren't accepting that answer. It's kind of crazy. So what are you planning on for power source?
We'll generate our own power. So we're using next generation Caterpillar generators. Yeah, they're super efficient. And Caterpillar just made the announcement last week. We've really joined a great partnership with them. It's not entirely novel. Caterpillar runs many power plants. And so basically what we've done is we've kind of just grown on their technology, and we'll be using the next generation Caterpillar generators and Caterpillar service.
Okay. So also people are assuming, like, beyond water and power, that data centers are going to drain all the county natural resources. I'm guessing is that true?
No. So really we don't pull on hardly any county resources, because all of our property is kind of behind the meter, or off the grid. Won't be taking power from anyone because we generate our own power. We won't be taking water from anyone because we actually have our own deeded water there on this site. And we don't pull on county services for sewer. We have our own systems there. And the only thing that we'll ever draw on the county for is just county support as a community.
I hope people give that support to you, because these two data centers, Mercury Deltas, are going to be very important for the survival of this county.
Yeah, we think the tax base that we'll lend is such a significant factor that, and I told this to the county commission, I think that approving our zoning on our park was the single most important economic decision that the Millard County Commission has ever made.
It really is. A lot of people are struggling with property taxes. They keep going up, and when you raise tax base on such a scale as yours, that property tax should drop.
Should be dramatic. In fact, we've done a lot of the calculations. The tax base numbers are all public here in the county, and our projected addition to the tax base will inevitably dramatically lower the property tax that the residents pay, as long as the commissioners are responsible with their spending.
Absolutely.
Which I think they've made a commitment to do that, but we would hold them to that in the future.
Absolutely, because I've talked to EMTs, people in the community, and people are wondering, like, what's going to happen with, like, EMTs are going to be full-time, or firehouse is going to be full-time with the expansion that's going to happen with these data centers.
I don't know how the county will choose to allocate those resources, but I do know this: the tax base will increase significantly, and those will be budget decisions that a responsible commission will get to look at.
All right. So I read the paper and other sources that it's a 4,000 acre project.
That's correct. Our campus is 4,000 acres. That doesn't mean that we're building all of that land out. Our plan was that by designating such a large campus, we can actually spread it out we don't have to just blanket the whole campus. And so the plans that we have submitted with the county basically show that our phases are pretty well spread evenly throughout our property.
Okay. It'll be a question on everybody's minds. Any plans for employees and how many?
Sure, that's a great question. Data centers have kind of two phases. The construction phase employs just an immense amount of tradesmen. And, tradesmen have two functions. They're people who can come from the community, and people from the community will be well suited to do that. But tradesmen also spend money in the community.
Nice.
They're not here forever, so you don't have, most of them aren't residents long-term unless they're residents to begin with. And then they are. The second phase is the long-term administration. And data centers don't have, like huge amounts of employees like a factory would have.
Right.
Just to give an example, an average data center would be 25 to 50 employees full-time. Those employees are pretty much around the clock, and they're basically of three categories. We have our security, we have our maintenance, and then we have what we call smart hands, and those are the people who work on the computers that are in there. Those are all positions that can easily come from this community, and it wouldn't take much. And in our proposal, what we've proposed is to participate with the county in an apprentice and training program, and to begin even as early as the high schools to help people make that career choice. Because if you can make that career choice in high school, begin your preparations for that technical field, it only takes a half to 1 year technical school to become certified.
So Fiber Network 3 Delta said they were going to prioritize Millard County residents. We can be doing the same.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And that's what we've actually already reached out with the county. We've already met with the county commission. We've already, like I said, that's why I know we'll begin the apprentice program, and it's actually filed in our application.
So that's some good news. Are you able to divulge how much is going to the tax base? Because Fiber Network 3 Delta said about $40 billion.
Yep, that would be, so here's the interesting point. Build out is different than the phased. So this is what we've said, that each phase on ours will be in the area of $500 million to $1 billion. And and that's per phase. But then the equipment is significantly more than that. That's our building and our infrastructure. There'll be more that will come.
Can you tell me what stage the project is in right now?
You bet, absolutely. So we're waiting for our conditional use permit. We've submitted to the county our initial plans and drawings. As soon as those are approved, we'll probably break ground at least in the first quarter of 2026.
Okay. All right. You just answered my next question. Is when construction starting? But
Yep. First quarter. We need to break ground soon. That's why we're pushing hard.
I'm really excited for this project. It's going to be big. Do you have any other last thoughts that you want to tell the community or anybody watching?
Sure. This is what I say to everyone. Data centers are not a boogeyman. What they really are is a large compute building that allows us to do a couple of things. This is what we foresee. We foresee that our data campus helps America stay in the race. The AI revolution is here, and if we participate in it, we'll keep up. If we don't, we'll fall behind. This campus will allow one more step for America to help keep up in that race.
Absolutely. So I know China, before you guys, are leading the largest data center campus in the world. But now it's turning to you guys, which is pretty impressive.
Yep, this is the place that it can happen. One of the nice things we have here, we have the freedoms. The compute that will take place on our campus won't be restricted by the government. It won't be restricted by anybody's thoughts or mores. It's compute that can be free. And if we can do that, we can stay really ahead in the AI race.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming down and talking to me and taking time out of your busy day.
Yeah, thank you, Colin, and the best of luck to you.
All right, thank you so much.
You bet.
We hope this conversation has helped bring clarity to the questions and concerns surrounding the new data center. Change can feel uncertain, but it also brings opportunities. By working together and staying informed, we can ensure that this project benefits our community, strengthens our future, and supports the people of Millard County. Thank you for taking the time to watch this interview with Mark McDougal and for being part of the discussion that shapes where we're headed.